which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
As long as it's before roll call.
You can do it anytime you want. Free speech.
Lord, as this year ends, we thank you for all of the progress and the success that we celebrate. For the year that we face ahead, we know that there are possibilities and challenges. We ask that you would provide your wisdom and guidance to these men and women who have stepped up to serve our community and been so faithful in that pursuit. We ask that you would continue to provide your blessing upon them and upon our community. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
Julie Rivera.
Here.
Ralph Miller.
Present.
Randall Niemeyer.
Present.
Richard Sharp.
Here.
John Foreman.
Present.
Greg Parker.
Present.
Jill Murray, Town Administrator. Here. David Austin, Town Attorney.
Present.
We have, did you say we're not doing the fireman, but we're doing police officer?
Correct.
We have oath of office for police officer Richard Pennington. Chief.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Richard Pennington,
I, Richard Pennington,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support
that I will faithfully support
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution and laws of the State of Indiana,
the ordinances of the Town of Cedar Lake,
the ordinances of the Town of Cedar Lake,
and the rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Police
and
Department,
the rules and regulations of the Cedar Lake Police Department,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and honestly discharge the duties of my office
and honestly discharge the duties of my office
as probationary patrolman of the Cedar Lake Metropolitan Police Department,
as probationary patrolman of the Cedar Lake Metropolitan Police Department,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
according to law
according to law,
and to the best of my skill and ability,
to the best of my skill and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
The reporter wants to get a picture there.
Just turn your back around. I'll just send these to you. So you have them.
Did you want any pictures? Really? Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Robert.
Again.
No.
Richard. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Congrats.
Welcome and be safe.
Congratulations.
Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Any public comment on agenda items only? Okay, we have the consent agenda. We have the minutes of the December 4th, 2018 public meeting and work session. Claims, all town funds, $62,488.89. Wastewater operating, $92,460.35. Water utility, $53,222.31. Stormwater, $6,252.06. 2017 RDAC construction, $9,594.98. Payroll, December 13th, 2018, $259,075.37. Manual journal entries, November 1st through the 30th, 2018. Donation, Cedar Lake Chamber of Commerce, GFI outlets for streetlights. Shelter clubhouse fee waiver requests. A Meals on Wheels 2019, Spinning Spokes Feeding Folks. June 9th, 2019, rain date, June 23rd, 2018. Cedar Lake Youth Baseball Team photos, April 23rd, 2019. And Cedar Lake Historical Association, March 28th, 2019, Annual Appreciation Dinner. Is there a motion to waive the, or motion to accept the consent agenda as read?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Neumeier,
Nope, good.
Who made the motion in second?
motion by Mr. Miller, second by Mr. Sharp. Is that right?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Julia Rivera.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Ordinances and resolutions. Number one, ordinance number 1312, 2019 salary ordinance, December 4th, 2018, first reading. Mr. Foreman.
I can do it. By title only, Mr. President.
Yes.
The Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1312, an ordinance amending town salary ordinance number 1283, establishing jobs and salaries to be paid certain offices, positions, and jobs within the town council or within the town of Cedar Lake for the year 2019, and repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict therewith.
For the first reading of ordinance number 1312.
This would be the second reading.
Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry,
President.
heard the second reading of ordinance number 1312. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Neumeier, second by Mr. Miller. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Julia Rivera.
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item number 2, ordinance number 1314, water system development charge amendment. Mr. Foreman, by its title only, please.
You bet. What page?
It's a separate
Separate
one
right
we
here.
just got.
Oh, is this the one from tonight? Okay. Ordinance number 1314, Water System Development Charge Amendment, the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana. Ordinance number 1314, an ordinance of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, amending Town Water Utility Rate Ordinance number 1111, being an ordinance of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, establishing the water rates and charges for the use of and services rendered by its Robin's Nest Waterworks system and all matters related thereto, to establish and adopt water utility system development charge rates for the Robin's Nest Waterworks system operated by the Town of Cedar Lake Municipal Water Utility, repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith and all matters related thereto.
Mr. President, clarification of the record, please.
Sure.
It says in the third line of the title of this ordinance, utility rate ordinance number 1111, but it should read number 1314.
That's that correct, sir?
That's what the Vice President just read. It says amending town water rate ordinance. Okay, 1111. I got it. John inserted 1314.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, ordinance number 1314 was, I just
Right,
read that at the
but you-
beginning.
But you read it there too.
No, I read 1111.
You read 1111 further down.
Okay.
We had trouble
Thank
with
you.
that in my office also. We thought it was 111. in the
Thank
first
you.
drafts.
My apologies.
Okay. Should be
This is
1111.
the first reading, correct?
It is.
For the first reading of ordinance number 1314, is there a motion to adopt, or,
Mr. President, do you
sure.
want an explanation for the record?
sure,
We can provide that. As you will recall, we discussed here the necessity of
enhancements to the water utility system of the town on the east side of town, and the establishment of a water system development charge rate for assisting in defraying the costs and expenses of doing so. We're talking about a water standpipe, we're talking about a transmission system, we're talking about additional supply and the like. Those have been estimated by your engineer with probable costs. We have identified what those capital needs are without final design engineering. And you identified you were looking for sources of revenue to be paid preferably by new permit applicants seeking to connect to our water system in our new subdivisions. So this ordinance is the commencement of a proceeding to petition the IURC for the ultimate end system development charge rate. The adoption of this ordinance ultimately will be a precursor for the filing of a petition to the commission for this rate to be adopted. We are within the jurisdiction of that commission, the Indianapolis, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, and this step is the first in a process that will take probably 6 or 7 months. We're happy to answer any questions. Jill's worked on this hard, she and her team, and our consultants.
This ordinance would not have any impact on the current rate structure of the current ratepayers, only new construction or additional hookups to the current water utility system. Is that
That's
correct?
And the ordinance specifically references that no amendments shall be occurred related to existing
Thank you.
connections and customers.
And that increase for new construction will be $2,556.
The rate study report of your financial advisor is that amount. Please remember that may not be the final amount. There's a proceeding to the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, maybe more, maybe less, but that's the report recommendation of your utility consultant.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 1314.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Niemeyer, second by Mr. Sharp. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer.
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules to allow for a second reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion to suspend the rules for a second reading of ordinance number 1314 and a second. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
No.
Greg Parker.
Yes. Motion carries 6-1.
And I want to just clarify, I just feel like since we're doing this change, maybe we should let some time lapse, even though it's only 2 weeks or so.
We've
Unless we're
talking
under
about
time.
this for a long time, and we
That-
are under some time constraints
Yeah.
at the end of the year.
But it's still going to take
In
4
order
to
to
6
get-
months.
In order to get in front of the utility commission sooner, this should be adopted, but
Does it have to be unanimous to have a second reading?
It does not.
Mr. Foreman, can you provide us with a second reading of ordinance number 1314?
I can, absolutely. Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1314, an ordinance of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, amending town water utility rate ordinance number 1111, being an ordinance of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, establishing the water rates and charges for the use of and services rendered by its Robbins Nest Waterworks system and all matters related thereto, to establish and adopt water utility system development charge rates for the Robbins Nest Waterworks system operated by the Town of Cedar Lake Municipal Water Utility, repealing all ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith and all matters related thereto.
For the second reading of ordinance number 1314, is there a motion to adopt?
so moved.
Somebody want to take a second on that?
I'll
Second.
second.
I'll shut up.
I was going with Rick and then Randy on the first.
Motion by Mr. Niemeyer, second by Mr. Sharp. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
No.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 6-1. Item number 3, resolution number 1232, year 2018 budget reductions. Ken, can you provide us with a description of what the reductions are? This is the second reading for this, right?
This is another resolution. I found more reductions that could be made. So
Okay.
I'll
Great.
get through it real fast and then I'll
Is by title only okay, and ask the clerk to give us the description?
Sure.
Okay. Resolution number 1232, year 2018 budget reductions. Town of Cedar Lake, Clay County, Indiana, Resolution 1232, resolution reduced to current 2018 balances, reduce necessary expenditures, Form 4A. Whereas it has been shown that certain existing appropriations now have unobligated balances which will not be needed for the purposes for which appropriated. It is further resolved that the following amounts be cut from the 2018 budget.
In summary, I found another total of 90,000 to reduce from the general fund, and then 13,000 from motor vehicle highway, 3,300 from local road and streets, and 5,200 from the redevelopment commission general fund. I am hopeful that these reductions, along with the previous reductions that you approved, will gain us a very favorable 2019 budget. I expect to have a report on that at your next meeting.
Very good.
Total amount of $111,500, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Heard the new reading of resolution number 1232. Could I ask for a motion in a second on this already?
Not yet.
I didn't have it.
Is there a motion
So moved.
to adopt
Second.
a resolution 1232? Motion by Mr. Sharp, second by Mr. Foreman. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julia Vera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. New business, nomination and appointment of 2019 town council officers. Number 1, town council president.
I'd like to make a motion for Greg Parker to be town council president,
It's a nomination, correct?
or nomination, I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
I don't think you second a nomination.
Oh.
Once the nominations have been
Listed
closed.
all the nominations.
Right.
Are there any other nominations?
Thank you.
Are there any other nominations? Well, I'm going to reject the nomination to be town council president for 2019. So I suggest. you come up-
I'd like to make a nomination for John Foreman.
Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Roll call, please.
Call for a first and second. Greg,
Is there a first and second on this nomination?
I make the motion.
I'll say it.
Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julia Vera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Okay, now we need a nomination for town council vice president.
I'd like to nominate Julie Rivera.
Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Roll call, please.
Mr. President, I make a motion to nominate Julie Rivera as town council vice president.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julia Vera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Town council liaison and committee appointments.
Mr. President, if it would please the chair, I'd like to read the list of liaison and committee appointments. If there are any discrepancies or disagreements with the list, please speak. Police Commission is 1 liaison, be Ralph Miller. Plan Commission is 3, Greg John and Rick. Unsafe building is 1 would be Rick. Stormwater Management Board, 1 would be Bob. He goes to all these meetings. Redevelopment Commission, I am a voting member of the RDC, so as a liaison, would be Bob. Ecosystem Restoration Committee would be 3 people, Julie, Bob, and John. Joint Management Oversight Board, Ralph and Rick. Northwest Indiana Regional Plan Commission, Bob. Lake County Solid Waste, Bob. And South County Community Services, Ralph. Are there any objections to that list as it was read? Thank you.
We need a motion on that.
Yes.
I will make a motion to approve the list that Randy just read for town council liaison and committee appointments.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if I may, the Plan Commission appointments are also the voting members of the Plan Commission. In the past, we've approved them as an appointment, then had to come back and make sure that they were the voting members because of the previous committee. So I wanted to make sure for the record, it was noted that those aren't just liaison appointments. Those are the voting members that you are appointing to the Plan Commission.
As well as the unsafe building, we would have to add another person to that because we've got just 1 listed here and there are 2 council members that are.
Correct. Further down here is your council appointments to the boards and commissions. I had added it. That's
Gotcha.
where we've had it in the past.
Okay, so duly noted.
Who made the motion on that?
I made the motion.
Rick
Is there a
seconded it.
second?
Actually, if I could correct that, unsafe building, the current membership, Chuck Cowder is a member till 2020. Julie was the council appointment,
Mhm.
and Rick Sharp was the Plan Commission appointment. So Plan Commission would need to
Gotcha.
appoint a new member to unsafe.
Gotcha.
Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan? Application.
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Appointments to boards and commissions.
Mr. President, if it pleases the chair, I'd like to start and not read this entire list because we do have one commission that needs special consideration. That's the Police Commission. There was only 1 eligible open seat, which was occupied by Terry Blagojevich. She did not apply to fill a new 3-year term. So that 3-year term needs to be filled, as well as of the removal of a current police commissioner, Kevin Toth, who was elected as township trustee. And then we would have to appoint a replacement for his 2 years remaining on his term. So if you could please consider the Police Commission on its own, and then I will read the list after that.
Okay, we're going to consider the Redevelopment Commission, Stormwater Board, and the Board of Zoning Appeals.
And council
Council
appointment to
appointment to
BZA.
the BZA and council appointment to the Unsafe Building Commission. First,
Okay, so that list is as follows. Redevelopment Commission is Nathan Viss, Jolie Kovach, Eric Burnham, Doug Spencer, Randy Niemeyer. Stormwater Board, 1 opening, Tom Frick. Board of Zoning Appeals, 1 opening, Jeff Bungie. Council appointment to the BZA, Jerry Wilkening. Wasn't that our appointment? I think it was. Or was it?
That might have been.
Jerry
Plan Commission.
Wilkening was the town council.
Okay,
appointment.
Jerry Wilkening, council appointment to the unsafe building, Julie Rivera. Are there any objections to that list as it was read? Thank you.
is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a
I'll second
Roll call, please. Motion by Mr. Niemeyer, seconded by Mr. Foreman. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
John Foreman?
it. Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Mr.
Now
President,
we'll consider the Police Commission.
the Police Commission, we had 3 qualified candidates. The names that were given to me as the majority would be Jim Altoff and Dave Villalobos.
Okay. Is there a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion to accept the nominations for the Police Commission.
Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, for proper sequence, perhaps a motion should be made to,
So Mr.
Remove Mr.
Altough,
Toth
Mr.
first.
Altough would be nominated to fill the 2 years of the removed police commissioner of Kevin Toth.
correct,
And Mr. Villalobos for the open 3-year term.
thank you.
Is there a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Motion by Mr. Miller, seconded by Mr. Sharp. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
No.
Julia Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
No.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Not just no, but hell no. Item number 2, firefighter paramedic training agreement.
Council, one of the things you approved a while back was a firefighter, paramedic, EMT training agreement. Amy Early has joined our staff. You guys will be, she'll have her oath of office at your January meeting. This is her training reimbursement agreement. The investment the town makes into our firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics if they should leave employment prior to their first 60 months of employment, they would have to pay us back for their training. So this is the agreement, and part of that is the acceptance by the town council and authorizing the signature of the town council president on the agreement.
And that's for $3,500.
It varies on the cost, so it depends on which training she takes. It's our recommendation to approve the agreement.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Miller, seconded by Ms. Rivera. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julia Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item number 3, Austin Kuiper Decitus professional contract agreement. Is there a motion?
I just have a question, Mr. President. Jill, is the contract agreement the same as it's been in prior years?
It is.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I had.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Miller,
Second.
second by Mr. Sharp.
For the record, Mr. President, the client, which is the town of Cedar Lake, will pay the attorney the sum of $100 per hour rendered by the attorney and $40 per hour for services rendered by non-professional legal assistant. That rate is ancient and
That
very
is.
much appreciated.
It is ancient. It has been that for a long time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julia Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item number 4, Birchwood Farms Annexation Ordinance number 1288, extension.
Okay.
Jill?
Council, if you remember when you passed that annexation ordinance, there was I'll call it contingency in there if they didn't get zoning approvals that they would be able to basically get out of the annexation, or the annexation ordinance would revert back to Lake County, correct?
Correct.
It's kind of like a Mission Impossible assignment. You choose to accept or not accept. In 5 seconds, it poofs. That's what happened here. And as the members of the Plan Commission here on the council know, the Old Tough development team has been working on this for months in terms of their readiness for land use approvals. We finally did receive in the last week a pretty thick packet of development plan, development agreement, materials, covenants, development plan, the specifics. And your engineers looked at it. I'm going to be looking at it. We'll be reporting to the Plan Commission next month, but they were not ready. So in order to keep that on track, they were advised that they needed to agree to an extension or not, and they want to develop the property. So
They're asking for an extension to March 1st of 2019. in order to complete the approval process.
Mr. President, guys, question?
Sure.
In your plan commission meetings, are they proceeding and moving along in proper order and proper fashion?
And they're moving along, not fast, not proper order, proper fashion.
It's,
Did they start off slow? I'm kind of wondering how we got here.
they started off quick, I think is the situation, and then they kind of stalled out. Usually people come in and start very slow, get the thing going, and then finish strong. So I think it's just a little bit different than most situations.
Did
we've
they run
seen.
into financial troubles or engineering troubles? What was it?
No, I don't think so. It's probably they're trying to avoid what maybe happened in '08 with building in too many areas all at once, is my guess, which caused them to delay, but I don't know that for a fact.
You got a better explanation, Mr. Austin?
Their project development seemingly was not in the proper sequence. They came and got annexation anticipating that they would be moving faster than they did and did not estimate correctly what level of professional consultation and preparation they would need.
They have a new front man now, which he doesn't seem to be real adjusted to the process.
Yeah, he's the front man. He's getting a lot of instructions. They have engineering now. We have a substantive set of plans. Don Oliphant's looked at it, as I said. I will be looking at it, and we think they're going to be ready for you folks at the Plan Commission in January.
Correct.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Got to have a motion.
Oh, yeah, I need a motion and a second on this item.
I make a motion for Butchwood Farms annexation ordinance number 1288 extension
Is there a second?
for approval.
Roll call by motion by Mr. Foreman, seconded by Ms. Rivera. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes. I was asked to keep this meeting moving tonight, and in an effort to do that, I'm doing worse than usual. Sorry, folks.
You're doing fine.
Town council reports. Town attorney?
I do have a report. As you are aware, you've been advised and kept updated on a zoning mitigation matter here in town in the 13600 block of Morse Street. I would solicit your authorization and approval to enter into a mitigation agreement related to the condition of that property, so that same may be submitted into court. I'll provide any details you're looking for here if you seek that.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to allow for consideration of entering into this settlement agreement.
Okay, we have a motion to amend the agenda for the settlement agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
No.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
No. Motion carries 5-2.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for the town council to enter into the settlement agreement with the listed entities as presented by the town attorney.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Niemeyer, second by Mr. Sharp.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
does that include, in your understanding, the authority for the attorney to sign the agreement, tender it to the judge?
I concur.
I concur.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
No.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Ralph Miller,
Yes.
Randall Niemeyer,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
No. Motion carries 5-2. Clerk treasurer?
Just as I stated earlier, I hope to have a report at the next meeting on our 1782 notice.
Okay. Town administrator, staff?
Council, I wanted to report back to you on Parish Avenue. The road striping was brought up, that there were discussions with the resident and concerns about how we had originally striped that. That was designed according to NDOT standards. However, engineer and your director of operations went out there, reviewed it. As a matter of fact, yesterday it was restriped. So that turn lane from south heading north has been eliminated, turning into Lynn's Way. So with the unusual and unseasonable weather, we were able to address that this year instead of having to wait till next year. So I wanted to report back that that has been taken care of.
So there was a turn lane
So there was
heading
a-
north?
There was a northbound turn lane in the center, which if you're pulling out of the south end or the north entrance of Lynn's Way,
Yes,
you had to get your car halfway out into the lane of traffic to see traffic.
I see.
To the southbound lane, you had to get your nose of your car out. Pretty interesting.
So now southbound, that XLD cell lane now has a turn arrow in it when you're heading south into Lynn's Way on that north entrance.
I see. I didn't see it, so
It was something.
that's a little odd,
When
yeah.
the resident told me, I drove down there and I said, holy cow.
Additionally, your
Before you
water,
move, you're out the road.
Yeah.
your water testing of the pumps at the Parish Avenue at the tower, at the pump house, is just been completed. So we will be anticipating the report back from our engineer and from those pump tests right now. They are very favorable. I don't have exact numbers to report back, but I wanted to let you know that. And additionally, with the budget reductions you've approved at the last two meetings, I also wanted to share with you that this is the first time, the last meeting of the month, we are not borrowing, and we have not borrowed since May, June, from the utilities to the general fund to make payroll. The miscellaneous revenues between the building department, EMS, and various other revenue sources and our property taxes have been able to get us through to the end of December, barring anything coming up in the next 2 weeks. But
Good knock.
I think that's a pretty good thing. We'll be close, but we'll be able to, with that, we'll be getting the settlements we anticipate before the end of the year. So that's a pretty favorable thing. We haven't been able to do that in quite some time.
So growth
That's a
isn't
real
all
good-
bad.
Yeah, that's a real good thing, Joe, Jennifer. Thank you. Real good.
Written communications?
When Jill, I have one question. The last council meeting, you had talked about the problem they were having in Cedar Point Park with Hill and,
Tim and staff are still reviewing that. I followed up with him today.
okay,
They are still working on that.
okay, thank you.
Written communication?
Mr. President, before you go to written communications, one more item.
Sure.
Commissioner Tippy being in the House brings that to my attention. Tomorrow, on the agenda of the county commissioners is an agenda item for consideration of approval of the agreement between Lake County's PSAP and Southcom PSAP. As you're aware, you and your partners, the town of Schererville, have approved entry into that agreement. The Lake County Council last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, Jerry? Last week? Last week approved entry into that agreement, and tomorrow might be the last day in a long journey of getting to this point. It was reported in the paper, so I'm not out of school and talking about it here. I don't know if the commissioner has anything he wants to say about it.
In the interest of helping Mr. Parker keep moving, moving along,
Thank you.
talk all night on the subject. if you'd like.
You know a few things about it, right, Jerry? You know a few things about it, right?
Yeah,
With all due respect, Mr. Tippy, some other time.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, that's happening tomorrow, so you'll either read about it or you'll hear about it from us.
Written communication?
Council, you have your Christopher Burke report. Notables are the Jane Ball and Hanover Safe Routes to School Sidewalk Project. Well, we finished the sidewalk quite some time ago. NDOT has finally let us know that the project is closed out. Robin's Nest Wetland Mitigation, that's part of the 133rd East Side project that we did a while ago. That one is in its final phases. We'll be providing an environmental notice as required by IDEM, and that will close that project out. High Grove and South Shore payouts for submitted on Friday and will be on your
No
next
on this one.
agenda for approval.
You
Very good.
yes on this slide. I voted yes on this.
I would just like to tell everybody, Mr. President, first, if I may, tell everybody out there today, thanks for all your support all year coming to the meetings. Number one. Number two, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and all that good stuff. So let's keep the two Chicago officers that were tragically taken down last night in our prayers, and their family. I think that was a horrible situation that many people from Northwest Indiana had to be a part of as well. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
I wanted to ask Jill some questions before you went into that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The roundabout, where do we stand with that? And it's my understanding that the detour is going to be Vermillion and Fairbanks, and are we still trying to get funds to have those two roads paved?
We will still be looking at funds for that. The detour route currently is actually Vermillion to Hilltop, not all the way around to Fairbanks. We're still looking at that one. Currently, the project limits have been staked out. Utility relocations are being coordinated with utilities. I do not have dates to report tonight. That is just starting.
Right.
The staking, right-of-way staking was just released to be able to be done with Walsh and Pellet.
So if Fairbanks isn't done with this part of the roundabout, we were previously looking into trying to redo Fairbanks, maybe locally, because of all the equipment that was going up and down Fairbanks and then being staged down there on Vermillion. Hopefully, we're going to still try and pursue that.
Absolutely. We're still looking at our projects.
Okay. And I agree with John's statement to everybody.
Yeah, and Bob, real quick, because we now have a truck route, I think that detour will be decent because it'll be primarily cars
Well,
and light
Trucks
trucks.
won't be able to.
Mr.
detour
Tippy,
through there. The
Correct.
I have
We have two detour routes on that project.
One's for trucks, correct? Okay, thank you.
I had an unincorporated lady that lives on Reeder Road contact me yesterday, and she says since we put that truck route into effect, now they're all starting to go down Reeder Road, and I told her to get a hold of you.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, just heads up.
Good job, Bob.
I'd like to just mention thanks to Greg Parker for serving as council president for the last half of this year. I think he did a great job. I appreciate you stepping up and doing it, Greg.
I agree.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg.
And I'm disappointed that you didn't continue it.
Well, Bob, I'm not disappointed. I'm disgusted.
Well,
We're not going to get into that tonight. I tend to be disgusted pretty often lately, though. So nice work tonight, folks. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Come on up, sir. We need your name and address for the record, please. Need your name and address for the record, please.
7501 Binion Avenue. I got a question about the police department. In 10 years in Cedar Lake, I have never had a traffic violation. For the last 3 years, I've had two on Klein Avenue, anywhere from a mile to 2 miles outside of Cedar Lake. And I asked the police officer why he was on Klein and 231, and he said he could be anywhere in the state. And I'm aware of that because I have two son-in-laws that are police officers. But are we reimbursed anything? I mean, does the town get anything from any of this?
Was it a
The
county?
town gets very little if you get a ticket in town proper.
Yeah, it actually ends up costing us money to write
This is
tickets.
outside of the town. And they were coming back south and I was going north. I mean, I was exceeding the speed limit. I'm not saying I wasn't, but it just seemed to me a waste of.
You think it's a waste of Cedar Lake revenue to have a
Yeah.
Cedar Lake officer outside the town limits?
What, was it a Cedar Lake officer?
Pardon?
A Cedar Lake police officer or
Yes.
county? Cedar Lake?
Does
And,
it-
I was just wondering why.
I can't answer that. I don't know if Chief wants to comment on it or not.
I don't know the circumstances, sir, but you're welcome to.
I mean, I was going north and they were coming south and they turned around and pulled me over.
The chief is trying to answer you.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know the circumstances, but I'd be more than happy to sit down.
oh, yeah, I mean, there was a traffic violation.
Yeah. He said he'd be glad to sit down with you and discuss this.
Yeah, a little hard hearing, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
That's all.
One of the other possibilities, there is a grant program that Cedar Lake Police Department participates in, and oftentimes it's outside of the jurisdiction. It's
So-
not limited, so. Please come see me, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, Mr. Austin?
Got nothing.
Seeing none, we're adjourned. I'll come in and sign it.
Okay.
How are you, bud? How are you? What? See ya. Mr. Parker, how are you, sir? How you doing, Mr. Tippett? Good to see you.
Oh,